morning. Here comes Barbara. So we'll wait for her to actually get in before I convene. Hi, Barbara.
Hey.
How are you?
Hey, Barbara. How was your vacation?
It was too short.
They always are.
All right, well, let's call the meeting to order at 4:32. Thanks everyone for being here. It's a big week for us. And Craig is either on his way or in Toronto on business, so he will not be here today. So the first business is to amend if necessary and then accept the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments to make to our agenda? And if not, if there are none, I'll entertain a motion to accept that agenda.
Second.
Barbara moves, Patricia seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. And if there are any opposed, let's see those hands. There aren't, so that motion carries. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is to approve our minutes from last week. Thank you, Patricia, for doing them. I think I read them quickly. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
And I'll entertain a motion to accept them if there are no changes necessary.
I'll second.
Okay, so put me down as moving that acceptance, and Joe seconds, and all in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
If any are opposed, and seeing none, that motion carries. The fourth item on the agenda is public comment. Can the minutes reflect that John Grant is here as a member of the public? John, would you like to make any comment?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you. So let's move right into our business. The first item, 5A under old business, is just at Ruth's suggestion to take a formal vote on closing our survey at the end of this month. So closing the survey on March 31st, 2022. We were doing a special meeting last week, so we did not have the survey on our agenda. If somebody would like to make a motion to close the survey.
I would so move.
Ruth, and I will second, and all in favor of closing the survey as of March 31st, 2022. And show your hands if you oppose, and seeing none, that motion carries. And so I will reach out to Jean and ask her to formally close the survey on March 31st. Okay. So now getting into our focus groups, just 2 days away. I think that we're, okay. I had a call, I'm going to back up for a moment. I had a call from Darlene today, and I apologize for not realizing this, but I really should have. If we have more than one of our members present at a meeting, it is a meeting that should be warned, should be open to the public, should be recorded, should be minuted, so on and so forth. And that is just the rules. But that is not what we're after for a focus group. It's not the purpose of a focus group. And in fact, it's not our intent to have a meeting. So my suggestion is that because it's not business, I mean, we are acting as committee members to gather information when we are doing these focus groups. My suggestion is that we have one person facilitating at these meetings, and we ask for a volunteer among the focus group participants to take notes. I don't know, Patricia, what you think about that, but that is, I think, maybe the best that we can do, unless we have just a general person there who doesn't participate, who's not on our committee, who takes notes. Barbara?
Well, I disagree with the fact that no more than two of us can be at any particular place at any time. I agree with you. We're not conducting business. We're not going to be making any decisions. We're having a discussion. So that's not something that needs to be warned. And I don't see why we can't have one of us taking notes and one of us being the moderator.
Yeah, I agree. And personally, I think it's kind of unfair to ask somebody who's coming to a focus group to take minutes.
I wouldn't do that.
No, I certainly
It's
wouldn't do
just,
that.
it's not, that is not acceptable to have a participant take notes, no.
Absolutely.
I think Darlene's being a bit of a stickler here.
Good.
We're not holding a
I
meeting.
think that we're not a sensitive subject in town right now. All sorts of FOIA and meeting, rules are being discussed, are being carefully examined. And I would just, I don't want to have it. What I don't want to see, given that it's 2 days away, is some sort of a directive from our town attorney saying that we must record and warn and minute and all of those things. So I'm just, trying to do the best that I can to make sure that we can go forward, without, having that kind of like a spending a lot of time really on the administrative, small details of this, and not moving it forward.
Why don't, you can still warn it, can't you? You have time.
48 hours, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you
For
warn
a
it
Zoom
tomorrow,
meeting, but why would I warn it?
well, I mean, if you want to cover it yourself, we can warn it and just the minutes will say a discussion was held, at such and such a time started, such and such a time ended, and that's
But
it.
then we have to open it to the public. And we have to
Well-
record it.
Yeah, which is intimidating for participants and they won't speak as freely and openly.
Yeah. Joe,
Can you, Connie, can you just explain this whole thing over again? Because I'm not sure that I understood everything that was presented.
it has to do with the Freedom of Information Act and municipal committees. So official committees of the town are meant to, they're meant to record, to keep a record and make that record available to the public of their meetings. And so, so that is where various rules come from, with regard to posting notice, sending notice and posting that notice of meetings, and writing minutes and recording these Zoom meetings that we're having.
So how does this apply to the focus groups?
Well, it applies to the focus groups because if more than one of us are together having a discussion about the subject for which we're convened, then it counts as a meeting. And I see Barbara's point about whether or not we're actually conducting business, but I also know that we're going to have some pushback and back and forth from people in town hall about this at the moment because of other committees that are struggling with the same issues.
So what we're dealing with is semantics then.
No, what we're dealing with is legalities. It's not really semantics. It's not how you cast it. It's more what you do.
Well, it sounds to me like what they're calling a meeting being a meeting. In other words, they're saying such and such is a meeting, therefore certain rules must apply.
But it isn't a meeting. We're not even going to have a quorum there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So why?
Well, if you don't have a quorum, then you can't take votes. But
But
you
we're
don't have a
planning to take
discussion,
votes.
but it still needs to be warned. You can't you can't say we're not having a meeting, but still have the two people there and have a discussion go on and not have it minuted. It's just not, you can adjourn the meeting, you can, you can't have votes if you don't have a quorum. But that doesn't mean if you don't have a quorum that you're not having a meeting. Barbara.
I volunteer to call Tom Hennick and get his opinion on this, because I think this is out of the ballpark nuts.
Yeah.
Sorry to be so blunt.
That
I
would
mean,
be great.
Tom Hennick's the FOI expert.
Yeah. Good. Why don't you, Barbara? I think that's a great idea.
I will.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have even thought about that? I mean, it just doesn't sound, doesn't sound,
It's not
Right.
surprising to me at all, but it doesn't mean that we can't do the focus groups. It just means that two of us can't be in there at one time.
Well, it's totally uncool to ask a participant to take notes. It just, for me, that I wouldn't want to moderate. I wouldn't want to ask, oh, can you take notes? No, I wouldn't do that. So the other alternative is to get a ad hoc other person, a friend or something who isn't on the committee to agree to take notes. But, then that's a big favor to ask someone to sit for 3 or even 1 and take notes when they don't even have any idea of what we're looking for. So if Tom Hennick says that Darlene is right, and there's no way this can go on without warning it, recording it, and allowing public access, then I think the plan C is to try and scare someone up who will agree to take notes. I don't think it would be good to change the date of the focus groups at this late time. So,
And Darlene has volunteered to take notes for the group that she is in.
which one again?
She's a member of the Kent Lions, so she's going to represent the Lions in the
nonprofits.
group.
Well, that's one anyway.
so then,
But Ruth really wanted to be in the social services one. She's the one that recruited all the members, and she has a relationship with all those people. So it would be weird if Ruth wasn't there, I think.
Yeah.
so then, my understanding then is that for the focus groups, you have the facilitator, and that's it. You can't have anybody else on from the committee
Yeah,
on the focus
that's what
groups.
they're saying. Mhm. And it's hard to be a facilitator and a note taker at the same time.
Yeah, that we couldn't.
Can't
do.
ask you to do
It's
that.
very hard to do that.
I still say, why, if we have to warn it and record it, you don't have to, in meetings I've been at with webinars, you don't have to have public input. They can listen, but you're muting them all, and nothing says you have to have public comment.
Yeah, well, that does kind of.
That also belies, yeah.
Yeah, it has a
People
real
won't feel
chilling
comfortable
effect.
talking with just anybody listening.
Even recording it can have a chilling effect on a focus group, because people are much more careful about what they say when they know.
Some people
that-
might opt out in that case,
Yeah.
if it were recorded.
Well. Hey, Barbara, can we call Tom Hennick now? You might reach him.
I'm not sure. It's 4:45. I mean, I
Yeah.
can try.
I mean, I'd be glad to call from here if you want.
Yeah, let me find his phone number. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, Here's another logistical thing for me to tell you, Patricia, and that is that I booked a conflicting meeting on Saturday morning, so which is not really an issue because I am not the moderator on Saturday mornings. However, I am the Zoom owner, so I created the Zoom account. My conflict is a board meeting that begins at 9, and I'm just a little nervous that it won't be done at 10. It may be, but what I was going to suggest is that you and I jump on the Zoom together at 9:15. I will transfer the host to you. I will leave the meeting. You can just hang out, close your video and just leave it up, and it'll be there for you to conduct the meeting. Is that okay with you?
That would be okay with me. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank
So
you.
one problem solved anyway.
Yeah, that one was a logistical hurdle, but I think easy enough solved. So it
I
almost
need a
sounds
quarter
like-
of 9 on Saturday to remind me because I have so much going on right now. I could forget.
And actually, can you just tell me, like, could I text you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's your cell phone number? Or do you want to?
I don't
you-
mind.
okay.
Yeah. And I trust everyone here. 212-662-1280.
Okay. Okay.
And Patricia, I'm your note taker for 1 o'clock to 2:30. You're the moderator there?
Yeah.
If we do it that way.
If we do it that way.
And let's figure out what the deal is with that. It looks like Barbara got through, which is nice. Okay. Then let's move on to other things besides the logistics. I meant to print it out. We have a good group on Saturday morning for our social services. Patricia and I will convene. In fact, if you all want to convene and see how that first one went, I'm happy to set up a Zoom just so we can do that, on Saturday in between the meetings. And then in the afternoon, the nonprofits group is a healthy set. The residents group has only 5. So, and we had hoped that Craig was going to scare up a few more, but he didn't.
But we had 7 as of last week.
I thought we did too, but we don't. Craig sent me 2 names. So Barbara, what do you think? Do we do a focus group with 5?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Patricia. I was looking at you thinking about, I wanted to hear what your
Yeah.
conversation was. Okay. Patricia, are you good with that? Do we do a focus group with
Yeah,
5?
I think so, because we've gotten 5 people to agree. And if we can't get any more by then, those 5 people's experiences still are relevant. So, and we don't want to insult them by saying, oh, if we only have you, we don't want you.
Okay. Okay, good. So I will go ahead and send them the link and the invitation after our meeting so that they're all on board. Barbara, what did you
You're
find
hosting
out?
that one, correct?
I'm sorry, what?
You're hosting that one.
I am. I'm the moderator for that group.
So true to state of Connecticut, he's gone for the day, but I left a detailed message on his voicemail and he's very good. I told him he could call me back tomorrow because I'm in Cornwall all day, or he can call me back Friday here. I'm sure he'll get back to us. I explained to him that Darlene raised a red flag and is saying that she feels that these are meetings that have to be warned and recorded as such. And it's my opinion that they're not, because we're not conducting business. We're not taking votes. We're just talking to people. We're actually having people talk to us. So we'll see what he says.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your outreach there, and let us know what you find out.
So you're saying we may not know his answer until Friday?
That's a possibility. he most likely will call me tomorrow. He's very responsive, but all I got was his voicemail, so I have no guarantee. I don't know.
So should we work on a plan B?
You need
Just
to
in
find the
case,
people.
yeah, so just in case he says Darlene's correct, or he doesn't get back to Barbara in a timely fashion, which is unlikely, but there is still a chance he could say Darlene is right.
So we would need 2 people to
people.
be note takers.
3.
Well, one is Darlene,
Oh, right.
so we've got her. We need one for my residence group and one for the social services group on Saturday morning.
Um,
That's still,
I
Joe-
signed, I was, I volunteered, and Craig and I volunteered for the afternoon residence group to be note takers. So, I mean, I'm willing to you know, to take notes for that group and any other group as well.
That's plan A though, Joe. If we get the answer that you can't be there, then we need plan B, which is a volunteer who is not a member of this committee.
John Grant is on this call. What do you say, John Grant?
How much does it pay? Barbara, you're the treasurer. How much does it pay?
Double digits.
Okay. It's less than $1 then. Okay. Yeah, I could probably do that. I gotta just look at the schedules that you have available and what I have to do. So yeah, no problem.
One of them would be 10 o'clock to 11:30, and one of them would be 1 o'clock to 2:30.
What
And if
days
you
are they?
wanted to do both, it's on Saturday, this Saturday.
I think, if Ruth can't do the social services one, I think it would be better if Ruth identified someone like maybe Bill Backrack or someone who, so I think John would be better for the second afternoon one.
That's fine.
That's social services one. I'm still holding out for Ruth because I think she put a lot of effort into it. Ruth, let me ask you this. If Tom Hennick says, yes, Darlene is right, would you be comfortable being the moderator for that one?
Which means,
you ask the questions, and because I don't want you not to be able to participate in that one.
but you're gonna be there and I'm gonna be there, so we can't.
No. I'm saying I won't be there. If,
Oh, I don't know how to do all the technology, as I've told you. So
okay,
that bothers me. Yeah,
I'm just trying to find a way for you to be in there.
yeah. Well, if I can't, but we'll have to explain to people, yeah. But Bill Backrack is going to be away, so he won't be available, I know that, and well, let's see what Tom says, and then we'll have to
Yeah,
figure out who we can get. Maybe somebody who takes minutes at town hall for meetings.
maybe Darlene will do too. She's the one that, that's not fair.
Yeah, and I honestly think that she was not targeting this group, but that there are.
Oh, I'm sure not. I'm sure.
I
she-
know, yes, I don't think that for a
No,
second.
No, not, of course
No.
not. She's trying to follow the rules. That's no problem. It just seems. you know,
Maybe
it's not a
Dar-
meeting, so,
Maybe Darlene may know of someone. Maybe she could recommend someone to take the notes.
I think we can find people. I think we'll be able to find people. So
Good.
let's keep it in mind. Let's not
Someone in
worry
mind.
about,
I have someone in mind who I think could do it.
Okay.
For the
Okay.
social services group.
Okay. All right. Let's move to the questions, and I hope everyone had a chance to review the really good script that Patricia put together. I don't know, Patricia, did you receive any comments directly about these questions?
No.
So, thoughts? I mean,
Well, if I were to do it, and however it works out, I don't see the need, sorry, Patricia, for the icebreaker in my group. I would like to get right to the point, introduce
Okay.
people, introduce each other, have them all introduce each other and tell a little about their background and then get right to it.
So we could eliminate the icebreaker for all of them if you guys think
I
that.
just think,
it's
they're
unnecessary.
there to not talk, in this group, not to talk about themselves. They're there to talk about their clients and who they're working for and what they see. So I would go right to it.
I just have one thought on that. And personally, I would use the icebreaker with the residents just because they're not going to know each other. So I think that's a little bit of a different vibe. So I thought it was really helpful, Patricia. But the other consideration that I would have, even for people who are used to working together and know each other, like our social services group and our nonprofits group, is that sometimes you want to do an icebreaker, not so much to get people to know each other, but just kind of to ease them into a comfortable feeling of talking. And so I wonder, Ruth, if you would consider, maybe not something quite as involved as the icebreaker that Patricia laid out, but even something like scrambled or sunny side or something silly, or,
Well, see, I don't agree with that, Connie. I think these people are here for a specific reason. They want to get the issue out. And these people are all very adept at speaking in front of the public. And I personally don't think it's necessary for this group.
I think that's fine. They're going to introduce themselves one-on-one, and maybe that's practice enough.
And talk a little bit, and they know each other for the most part, most of them. And I just see that I would rather just get on to the business.
Mhm.
My thoughts.
And the residents, I think it's a good one. The residents and parents. I think it's good for that group. The nonprofits, I'm not sure. I think you can gauge by the conversation, throw something out that you did during lockdown that was out of your ordinary. And if people respond, oh my God, yeah, I baked 8,532 cupcakes in lockdown, then it's kind of working. If people don't, then you can go directly. So I think it's up to the moderator to gauge whether it's appropriate or not.
Yeah, sure. I think that's fine. I think there is the risk that we eat up 20 minutes with the icebreaker, and that we don't want to do. We don't want to sabotage.
Yeah, you would have to cut that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Other comments?
No, I like the rest of it, Patricia. I thought questions were right on.
It's very good.
I like my last question. Was there a silver lining? That is my favorite question.
Yeah,
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
It's something
and there
that's
is.
nice.
There is a silver lining to.
I think there is.
Absolutely. Well, I was just talking to somebody today, the fact that we now Zoom, and with gas prices the way they are, there's a silver lining.
Yeah, that does save. Okay, so I'll redo it and put sort of the icebreaker in brackets, since a use or don't use at moderator's discretion. And I won't use it for the social services because I trust your instincts with that group. And if you don't think they're comfy, they need that, I won't bother with it. And the rest is okay, guys.
I thought it was great. Thank you for doing it.
Very
Thanks.
good.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. We good?
So, Connie, do you think, I mean, if we don't warn it and Tom says we have to, then what happens? I mean,
I don't think we have to, as long as we don't
as
have.
long as
more
we're
than one
not
of us
having
in
two
the-
people?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So I think we are good with that solution. And let's see if,
And all we need is one more because we have, Darlene agreed to do it for the afternoon one that I'm moderating. John agreed to do it for the afternoon one. No, he didn't agree, right? I don't think, John. He said he would try. He would look at his
he's gonna
schedule.
check. He's gonna
Yeah,
check. So
he's
we
gonna
may,
check.
we may.
So we may have John. Oh, and if we do, we only need one other.
I think we'll be able to do it, but let's see, you know.
If
let's
worse
see
comes to
if
worse,
we
I can rope my husband into it, I think. Except I can't read his writing, so.
Wait a minute, FOI, are we allowed spouses?
Yeah, or you like to have a,
Yeah, so, okay, well, so good, we're good on the questions. We're good on the groups. We have Plan A and Plan B. I think we're good to go. An update on I think I already updated you on this, on the restaurants is that, you know, we didn't have any. We really only have Lori's Nails and Ken Falls Brewing and Vanessa. So I
Who?
feel like Vanessa Anderson, she does W Fitness. Is that the name of it?
oh, yeah. Is the Pilates studio or the
Yeah.
yoga studio?
It's kind of both. She does
Okay.
everything. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I feel like we can just interview
Do
them.
one-on-ones with them?
Yeah. Unless anybody had a good conversation with a restaurant over the weekend and convinced them to do this.
And the chamber really hasn't helped at all.
I think they did, but I think they didn't get
No one-
anyone, nobody was interested. You know,
Well,
and that doesn't mean they're not
That
interested in
surprises
Arpa.
me.
It just means they don't want to be part of a focus group. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe the people who were motivated filled out our surveys. We do have, you know, we did have many businesses fill out the surveys, and maybe they don't really feel like they need to go to a focus group. I don't know.
Did
Well-
anybody talk to Fife and Drum?
I didn't talk
Alyssa?
to them directly. No.
No? Then I'll give Lisa a call and see if I can't do an interview with her.
Joe, you had your hand up.
Well, I just wanted to mention, Connie, because at the last meeting, I didn't think to mention it at that time, but now you had mentioned at the last meeting something like going to some of the businesses and approaching someone in there and asking them, if they would, be willing to participate in the focus groups. Anyhow, now, just on that, on that matter, I know I myself have gone into a few businesses to pass out some of the those postcard mailers. And anyhow, if you go in there and introduce yourself, you don't really have contact with, say, the owner of the business. It's just someone that is working there, and they're waiting on customers, and they will, so in other words, my point is that you don't have access to the owner of the building or the owner of the business. You know, in other words, you have access to the help.
Okay, so but I don't think that changes where we're at, Joe. I think it's a fair point. I think we don't have participation to make a focus group next Tuesday, and that we should let go of that idea for the moment. And that because they were willing to talk, I don't think there's a problem with us having one-on-ones with Lori's Nails, with Vanessa, and with Kent Falls. And Barbara, if you want to go in to talk with Fife and Drum, I think that's great too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with us doing a little bit of information gathering, as long as as long as what we're doing is really trying to gain insight on like the field as a whole, and not, I guess I remain a little bit wary about getting a very I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. I remain a little bit wary that there would be a perception that we were hand selecting, but as we talked about with our last meeting, I don't think we're hand selecting at all. We've done our best to cast a really broad net, to get interest, to call together a representative group. We don't have that interest. And so I think the information gathering that we do can be useful to us, and let's do that. But I want to let go of the plan of having a focus group on Tuesday, the 15th, if you guys agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I do.
I agree too.
Okay. Okay.
Talk with one of the, either the Lori Nails person, or David Birnbaum.
That would be great. Do you want to pick?
I'll do David Birnbaum. Do you know the Vanessa woman, Connie?
I do know her. Her daughter's in my son's grade at school.
So you want to do her?
Sure.
And Lori Nails. I think that's a great one for you, Glenn. I'm not serious.
Did we use the same set of questions that we're going to be using at the focus groups
Sure, but
generally?
yeah.
I mean, is that generally, we know what you asked at the fire department, Barbara, and I think that, all of these lines of inquiry are pretty similar. So that's what I would do. I think we are of one mind about what it is that we're hopeful to know. Mhm.
Glenn, maybe you should do David Birnbaum and I could do Lori Nails. Would that work?
Maybe.
Do you want to do a one-on-one or no?
Yeah.
You did this all the schools.
Yep. No, that's okay. I'll do that.
Okay.
Good.
Do you know that is the name of the Lori Nails woman in the Google Drive? I'm assuming it's Lori.
Yeah, oh, no, I don't know, because it's called L-O-R-E.
Oh, R-E.
Let me see if I have.
I'm the person who told me that Lori Nails owner wanted to do it is a friend of mine, so I can find out who the owner is.
Another thing that you might do, if you can't get an idea of that, Patricia, is if you went on the Chamber of Commerce website, there might be contact info, or or just Google the way that we do. You might be able to find.
Maybe I'll just go in and get a manicure.
Get a manicure. That way, you'll have a set amount of time. It'll really help with the warm-up.
Exactly. And I'll be helping her out.
Sacrifice for you to make for Arpa, I know, but. All right. And then I think you saw Craig's in Craig's email, he said that he was scheduled to go to the PTO meeting this evening. Now, he was not incredibly clear in his email that it was this evening. But as you know, when he sent his follow-up today, I kind of figured it out, and I emailed back and forth with him, and he said it was today. But he also didn't have a link, and it was the meeting's at 5:30. So it seems
But
unlikely-
everything's been canceled tonight, Connie.
Yeah.
All activities
Okay.
have been, according to the
Yeah.
notice I got from the superintendent, all afternoon activities are over, or,
Okay.
canceled.
Okay. So it probably didn't happen.
Probably
We
not.
had an early dismissal at school.
Right, that's why I think.
Yeah, the school was an early dismissal anyway. But
Yeah, but then it became a snow day, but I would venture it's not happening.
you're all making me really nervous because I've been sitting here in the Kent Land Trust all day long and haven't stepped outside, and I know that my car is covered with snow.
Do you have 4-wheel drive?
I have all-wheel drive. I'll get home.
You'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We live here. We know what it's like. Okay, well, so I think we're done talking about focus groups for the moment. I think we have a pretty set plan. There's always got to be something to keep it exciting and a little up in the air. But Barbara, do let us know what you find out. Should we move on to 5C?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't bring the agenda. What is 5C?
So 5C is and this was you, Barbara, and I don't know if you had a chance to do this when, because you were away, but the idea of putting together a spreadsheet to track the different individuals and groups that we've heard from.
I have my template. I just need to populate it.
Okay.
So by the next meeting, you'll have something to look at in the shared drive.
Great.
So I have a question to ask. Someone took it upon themselves to write me an email and make a suggestion about a good use of ARPA funds, which was to give some money to fix up the blueberry bushes at Marvelwood that were donated by the Kissinger family, and they're in really bad shape. And lots of people in town like to go there and pick blueberries. And so could ARPA give some money to make the blueberry bushes fun for people to go to again? So what do I do with a request like that?
I think you submit it because I want to put as much information on this tracking template as I can.
Okay.
And then we can go through it and sort it and see what qualifies and what doesn't. And I believe that I forwarded to everybody the request that I'd received from Matt Starr about the exercise equipment over at the fire department. And originally my first reaction to that was, gee, I don't know how that would qualify. And then I thought about it and I thought, well, when you think about exercise equipment and connect it to the mental health of the people who are responding, maybe it does qualify. So I think there's going to be links that aren't immediately recognizable, but that we will see as we go through this. So I want to include everything. And when people I've had 2 or 3 people say to me, is it too late to submit a request? And I say, no, send it on in, go ahead. We want it all. Just give it all to us. We'll take it. Whatever it is.
Great.
I agree with that.
That's great.
Okay, so I mean, I didn't even know about this blueberry thing that people in town like to go and pick blueberries. Glenn, you must know. She said it's at Marvelwood. So
Yes, Patricia, I've been picking blueberries there for 27 years. And
so
the problem with the bushes, it seems, is that they do have some kind of life, and some of them have reached the end of their life. So we thought maybe we were pruning too much or not enough, or what was happening. They have just been going away as the last few years. It's been the last 3 years. I haven't really had a big
yeah,
harvest.
this person was completely sad about it. So
So am I.
put it in.
So am I.
I'll put it in.
Okay.
Yeah. And even just thinking about that, the quick connection can be made. Well, can that be turned into something that is you can associate with Park and Rec, an activity, a fun thing for the community to do,
Mhm.
outside activities. So there's lots of connections we can make here, I think.
It's great.
Okay, good. I think, you know what, I was gonna do this in new business under correspondence, but as long as we're having this line of conversation, I wanted to read to you an email that I'll put in the drive that came from Scott Trabucco, who is Board of Ed at Kent
Sort of
Center.
idea.
And he just sent it as almost like a follow-up to the conversation that he had with Michelle Mott and Craig Bibb. So I just wanted to read that for you guys. Dear Connie and committee members, I wanted to thank you and Craig Bibb for taking the time to meet with and consider the perspective of our principal, Michelle Mott, last week. I also wanted to clarify a point that was discussed at your February 24th meeting. The Board of Education will be having its first Community Relations Committee meeting this month, where the focus will be on beginning the effort to form a nonprofit enrichment program for KCS students. This committee will be overseeing a fundraising effort in an attempt to establish an endowment for that nonprofit. The endowment is intended to allow the enrichment program to exist as a largely self-funding organization. This enrichment program will be designed to have no impact on the yearly budgets of either the town or school. Our preliminary fundraising target for the endowment is between $350,000 and $500,000. As you know, we've made no specific request for funds from the ARPA committee. What we have done is to suggest that you consider using a portion of the ARPA funds to contribute to our fundraising effort if you feel, as we do, that the allocation would fit into the parameters of what the ARPA funds are intended for. Thank you for all the time you're spending on behalf of the town of Kent. So that I think he meant as a clarification, because we had some question about a school program that had a budget of $350,000. And so his clarification is that that's the budget for an endowment that they're hoping to raise, that would then throw off income that would allow for the running of this program on an annual basis.
How would that be related to the pandemic, however?
I think that I'm trying to remember back, and I would suggest that you read the notes that Craig prepared about that interview with KCS. But I think the idea was that this program was a socialization program that went beyond, what the current programming was that's offered by the school. So remember, it was modeled off of another program. All of that information was in his notes.
Yeah, right. No, I remember reading that, but this is what I'm saying. I mean, it's, to kind of tie that into the pandemic recovery. That's what
I think I'm just going to say, like, rather than get into a big discussion about that, tonight, I would just, reflect on what Barbara's just said, is that, if we tabulate these things, if we've, then by the time that we're getting to a point where we're discussing the data that we've gathered, both through the survey and the focus groups, and we really feel like we have a handle on how town residents and businesses and people who work here were impacted by the pandemic, then we're going to be able to see these requests and, and talk about them in the light of the pandemic and the ARPA funding.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Connie. But I'm just was, was wondering, like, how did a follow-up letter, why was a follow-up letter written, in response to the original request? That's what I'm.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear from the email that Scott watched the meeting that we had on February 24th and felt like we weren't clear on what they were presenting about the nature of their program and what they may or may not have been hoping for ARPA funding for.
Okay.
All right, anything else? And any new business that anyone wants to raise? And I think at our meeting next week, we're going to be talking about the focus groups. I feel pretty confident that that's what we're going to be talking about. So I'll put together an agenda.
So can Barbara email us with Tom Hennick's response? Because you had once said that we shouldn't be emailing each other, Connie.
Right. Well, so here's how FOIA works with respect to emails. We are not supposed to have a discussion via email because it makes it very difficult to create the record. So I think if Barbara conveys what she hears, we can figure out whether or not we need a discussion based on that. If we all need to jump on a Zoom, or a portion of us enough to have a quorum need to jump on a Zoom to have a discussion, fine, but we might not need a discussion. You know, if she hears from Tom, you know, definitely it is exactly the way that Darlene laid out, we'll know we're going with Plan B. If she hears from Tom, you know, it is not what Darlene laid out, that might be more complicated, because to me, I think that would require, you know, a conversation with Darlene and the town to just make sure that they know that that's what we have heard from Tom. So I feel like we really, you know, we don't know until we know. But that's the problem with emails, is that you're really not meant to have like a discussion on email, because
But this is a factual yes or no, and we have to know. So I
Yes.
don't see any reason why we can't just say, yes, it's a go, or no, it's not. Yeah.
In
Right,
the email, I can reframe the question and then put the answer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
easy enough to do.
okay,
Good.
I think that's fine. Yeah. I think we all know what we would get from Barbara, and then, you know, but we're not meant to then just have a dialogue.
All right. I have a question. Did anybody on this meeting actually attend the FOI workshop that was just presented a month ago?
I did an FOI workshop last year, maybe. So I didn't feel it necessary to go to this one.
I'm just curious if the one that they just did was taped.
It
You know?
is. I watched
Oh.
it.
So he didn't address this concern in there?
I don't think so. I listened to the webinar, and I was confused by some of the topics and everything, but
I'll
there-
spend a little more time and I'll rewatch it. I didn't attend it because I work in Cornwall and we just had one in Cornwall. And I'll see if the one in Cornwall was taped, because I know it was addressed.
I mean, what
Maybe
I
not.
heard was pretty consistent with what I was talking with Darlene about earlier. But there, you know, they did not address a specific situation like we have before us, where, you know, what we did not talk about at all was a meeting where you're actually having the meeting for the purpose of soliciting information from people not on the committee. You know, it was really about committee meetings themselves, where you're expecting to have discussion with other committee members and do some business. So, you know, I'm not really sure if there's going to be a clear answer in that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we are done for this evening. I'm excited for Saturday. And thank you all for your
Fingers
time.
crossed.
Okay.
Trust.
All right. I'm stopping the recording.